first of all, I'm playing a new pack. It's called Omnifactory. Let me do some of my usual stuff, just organizing it. Perfect. And while I'm in the dark, I guess what I'll do is I'll just probably dig a hidey hole right here, and then we'll probably just look at the quest book, and I'll probably give a talk. So maybe fast forward for the next 10-15 minutes, or maybe just skip this whole entire episode, you know, just because I might just be in a hole talking about this pack and what to expect from this playthrough. So I'll let you guys know on that. And all right, now here we begin. Oh, actually, we're given torches. That's pretty dope. Okay, so it's a nice part that we're actually given a in the top right with the journey map, you can see that there's a time on there, so that's kind of cool. All right, so Omnifactory is a GregTech based pack. There's a bunch of different stuff on it. There was a big hype Reddit thread that was posted about it a while ago. I was aware of it early on its development just because of my status as admin and MPD, and Damien himself knew what I was working on Interactions, which was heavily based in GregTech Community Edition, and he himself is also working in GregTech Community Edition as well, because that's one of the major forefront mods in this pack. And speaking of mods, so let's just go over the mods real quick, right? So first we have Minecraft, blah blah blah. Advanced Rocketry, some people might have worry about it. I haven't actually looked into the configs yet. I don't know how many planets he put in. I don't know how much customization he did. I do know that if he does put in a lot of planets in a long grind, you know, that could be a turnoff for a lot of players. It's a turnoff for me. But you know, we'll see. We can wait on that later. Little tiles instead of chisel and bits. That's fine. Is there chisel and bits? No, just normal chisel. Okay. Next we have Fast Workbench, or Actually Additions. Okay, cool. Actually Additions is mostly known for its drill, and also the atomic reconstructor functionalities, and it also has, actually in my opinion, the best fluid placers and fluid breakers, because they're just nice simple blocks. They do their job. You put them down, you can fill them up. They have internal inventory. I'm a fan of them. Then you have Baubles, sure. Redstone Flux, right? Part of the whole entire COFH suite. I'm assuming that the Actual Additions drill is good, but I mean, once you get to the higher tier drills from thermal expansion and thermal... Oh, they're not in here. I misspoke. Nope, they're here. They're just called flux bores. I keep thinking they're called drills. But yeah, once you get, like, you know, the resin flux bores and you have enchantments on them, they'll outperform AA enchanted drills. So if you want to know, is that one of the balancing points that you probably want to check difficulty in recipes, because these seem like default, right? Not a big difference. Whereas if you look at the flux, if you look at the Actual Additions drill, it might actually require more finagling. Oh, interesting. So the drill core is actually... Oh, that's so fascinating. So the drill core you can't actually craft. You have to craft. You have to find in Lost Cities Exploration. The funny part that got me though is that I'm playing on a friend Jabardic's server, and his doesn't actually have Lost Cities. So that's pretty funny. Okay, you know what? I think what's gonna happen is that some people just might be bored if I'm just gonna be talking about here. So what I'll do is I'll cut back until when it's daytime, and we'll just talk about it then. Okay, we're back, and it's daytime. Alright, so where was I again? Oh yeah, I was talking about the different mods. What I think the best way I want to have this... that's a creeper. The best way I want to have this done is I'll probably find an area where I can make a base, and yeah, I don't know. I'll just ramble and talk about my gameplay throughout this. I think I do want to go through a full playthrough. Oh snap, we have flax. And we can plant flax, and that was a very creepy sound. Why does Blur do... Oh wait, every time I opened Blur I kept thinking it was Blur. It just ended up being the Blizz instead. Also, that Blizz is OP with the slow. If there's... I always go by that due to how Minecraft works and the reach of most vanilla mobs, I think the most powerful thing and the most dangerous thing you can do in Minecraft is making a mob faster or making you go slower. I think that just results in insta-death all the time. Unless you have, obviously, OP armor. But even if you have OP armor, right, instead of debuffing a player's armor or making a play or increasing a mob's hit points, I think increasing a mob's speed just always makes it more dangerous relative to all of the types of buffs, because it mechanically changes how most players are used to combat in Minecraft. And I'll tell you right now, I don't think Minecraft is very well suited to things that handle very fast combat. At least for me, it doesn't. Okay, but once again, this pack is not about combat. This pack is about building factories and Base Simulator 9000. So what do I really want to do with that? I mean, well, first off, the big mod, you know, the big elephant in the room is going to be GregTech. That's the one that a lot of things are built on. Then you actually have auxiliary mods like, you know, Applied Energistics. BD Lib is in here. And it's funny because every time they add BD Lib, it's either for pressure pipes or for gendristry. So let's go check. No pressure pipes, no gendristry. Okay, so I don't know what BD Lib is in here for. Maybe I'll find out as I go down the list later. Okay. So we have Advanced Rocketry, Advanced Solar Materials. This is from Tech Reborn. Interesting. Wait, we have Tech Reborn and... No, we don't. So Advanced Solar Materials. Yep, you have the Scenarium. I wonder if he just added in here as a microcrafting components. Oh, yeah, it does seem like microcrafting components where he has content tweaker custom items for it. Yep, makes sense. Oh, I forgot to do my classic controls in JEI. I always do this, and you'll always see me talk about this in every other pack. When you want to set your keybinds, show previously viewed recipe, you want to use the back button on your mouse. So I could just do this easier. Okay, so Scenario, these are reinforced iridium alloy. These are classic recipes. These are classic GregTech recipes. Very, very, very big, a huge throwback compared to the meta with GregTech Community Edition. I like them. Okay, so that's what Advanced Solar Materials is for. We also have Applied Energistics, as usual. AE2 stuff. Oh, okay, that's okay. AE2 stuff. That's the other one. In fact, that might be more popular than pressure pipes. So I can't shame on me for forgetting about that. It's funny though, because in my opinion, if you, I'd rather not have AE2 stuff in the pack, because if you want to do like a crystal growth chamber, I would prefer if we just add a chemical reactor recipe in GregTech. That's it. I think that all of these features and functions were because a lot of AE2 processing machines were just utter garbage, or players weren't a fan of using those processing methodologies. So I think that if you just switch it over to GregTech, which makes more sense because, you know, if that'll be one of your main mods to produce power, that works easier. Okay, so let's go back. What I want to do is I actually want to fix my sounds, and I hate the sound of chickens. They drive me crazy, and hostile creatures too. All right, so I guess what could be done right now is I'm just looking for a nice area to settle in, and it's the nice part about playing a pack without, thank God, without spice of life for once, that you could travel pretty far. You can literally, like, if I just run into oh, interesting, I can't eat canola seeds. Oh, that's because my hunger's full. But you know, I could just go very far, kill a pig or two, and bam, there you go. That's my, and that's how, you know, and then I could, that'll set me good for the next 1,000 blocks or so. Oh, interesting. Okay, so we have a vein here. This looks like aluminum, gold, magnetite. So I'm just gonna say this is a magnetite vein. And part of me is actually even considering switching off of Journey Map into Zero's mini map. I know people prefer Journey Map. I just prefer Zero's mini map now after playing with it for so long, especially when it comes to handling waypoints. Because this, I guess I can set all waypoints to red, right? This bottom left right here. Oh, let's do dark red, so or magenta, so it's easier to remember. So then I could just turn off all magenta waypoints later on. So this is magnetite, so I can go back to it later. And there are no above ground indicators, but he's given you scanner to get started with, which is a nice add on his part. The thing is, because some veins get so large, it's like literally a blinding light. The ore concentration just like blinds you. The thing is though, the scanner that he gives you, oh, I lied. So it looks like he already does give you range modules. That's pretty fascinating. And I mean, obviously it uses energy in the scans, but whatever. In fact, I think what I want to do is I need to check the configs to see what is labeled as common ores and what's labeled as rare ores. Because my plan is, if it takes additional energy to do these scans, oh, why do I bother with them, right? Might as well just remove the ones, because if I'm only looking for common later on, if I'm only looking for certain ores, I'd rather not use the energy. And that's just me being really stingy, because that's like a ton of energy we have right now. Another thing that I don't like is that this pack has realistic item drops, but that's a personal preference. Some players like it. Ever since Sevtech added it, I think. I mean, that was the first pack I've seen that use realistic item drops. But I'm okay with. And then other packs started adding it. In fact, in my Sevtech playthrough, I actually removed realistic item drops. And this also has world tooltips, which I'm neutral on right now. Maybe we could remove it. Maybe we'll keep it. It depends. And once again, it gets dark. So I guess that was just bad timing on my part. This is still not a... I'm still not satisfied with the area that I found. You know what? Here's what I'll do. Well, that was actually bad. I did not mean to fall down. Let's get some wood. Maybe I should have done this a while ago. And I should probably also get a furnace set up so I can just cook some food and get a sword. And, you know, I'll actually travel through the night as well. Because this pack isn't that dangerous. If I die, I die. But I don't anticipate me dying that much. Knock on wood. I just want to say, how many people do this? Once they craft their first crafting table, they don't even check the mod list. They just check if you can make the Tinker's crafting station. Do people still do that because they love the crafting station so much? Hey, is this another Magnetite Vein? It is. That's pretty sweet. Alright, so let's just get ourselves a sword because a zombie's right behind us. No, that was just in the sounds. So I'm just going to get the basic tools. So get some stone tools going. And I know that, in fact... Oh... Well, I guess I found out where the noises were coming from. God damn it, I just wanted some stone tools. You know, this is funny that I don't actually care about these ores. I just want these stone tools. And I'm getting annoyed that these ores keep showing up. I'm just like, Jesus, man, just give me cobblestone. Alright, but this is fine. This is cool. The nice part is that the appearance of these veins are pretty common. They appear once... And I'm just gonna throw numbers off the cuff. I'll give explanation for I found these out later. But there should be about 3 veins. There should be about 3 veins every 3x3 chunk section. So they can all be in one chunk, which would be unfortunate because they overlap a lot, or they can be spread out variously. And some of these veins can be 2x2 chunks big. So you just might literally encounter, if you were looking at this world from top down, you literally just might encounter entire whole swaths of area. Like, I guess the best way to describe it is that if you were looking at it top down and you removed all the grass and cobblestone, you might not even see bedrock just because you'll just see a layer of ores everywhere. Like that's to give perspective just how much ores you'll see. And in fact, later on, and maybe in the I'll throw it a clip later if I'll just do I'll add in World Stripper to my pack, and we can see how much it affects the rest of the world generation. Okay, so another nice part is that they have a mod that I think it's Real Bench. I forget what it does, crafting table, but there's a mod here that adds in the functionality that you can just leave items on a crafting table, and it also pops up and renders for you, which I think is a nice add. Pretty nice. Okay, so here's what we're doing. The usual thing is I could take it slow. I haven't decided what kind of base I want to do yet, right? Maybe I want to do something like, I don't know, like a mountain base. Maybe I can do another cave base. The last thing I want to do is a skyblock platform, because I know I always do that, and I know I'll be bored out of my mind if I do choose to make another yet again skyblock platform. But that is the most efficient way to play for me, to be honest. And if I was in a rush, like, you know, if I had like a lot of other games I wanted to play or another pack I wanted to try out, I would without a doubt just revert to that play style 100%. In fact, but you know, there's no other packs I really want to play right now, and Interaction is kind of just in its update mode. And I guess this is a good time to bring it up, as Annie's just like, oh, why are you just not playing Interactions? Mostly it's to avoid burnout. After working on the pack for so long, and playing through, damn creepers. Oh, he didn't disable iron ingots from zombies. That's pretty dope. But more importantly, I'm surprised that the creeper didn't kill me. It looks like the difficulty was set to easy. All right. I mean, honestly, I don't think combat's a big part of this pack anyway. So I don't know. All the hard enthusiasts might be wondering. And in fact, it's funny too, because when I was talking with Damien, he was commenting that people were saying that interactions had too hard of a combat, so they might be attracted to this pack. But on the flip side, there are people who were like this pack, were just like, how come there's no combat? How come there's like no adventuring? There is a level of adventuring exploration when you go into the lost cities, but it's nothing as like various custom dungeons and stuff, right? And actually, don't quote me on that. I actually don't know how much work Damien put into the Lost Cities generation. He could have custom loot tables. I checked briefly. There wasn't anything, and I don't think I saw Loot Tweaker installed, right? Yeah. So I don't know like how deep he went there with it. And once again, exploring. Maybe I want to start off in a biome. I don't think there's biome specific spawns yet, but we'll find that out later. And also, if you're wondering like, oh, what's the guarantee? How long you're gonna be playing this pack for? I don't know, boss. I don't know the answer to that question. No, maybe you could tell the future better than me, but no idea. I might play this pack for, I don't see playing this pack for months on end. I might play it to whatever the proposed end game is. Definitely not beyond that. I'm not an overachiever by any means. And it could end well before that. I will try to at least get 4 episodes out, which is one more than my interactions playthrough, right? Come on. If anything, you always got to reach for improvement. That's my motto for things. Do you think I'll need egg sacs later on? Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't know if anyone else also has this like huge bad hoarding habit at the initial start of packs. When they're just, because that's another thing of it too that I always disagreed about mod packs in the early game, is that when you add more mods, you just tend to add more items than vanilla. That's just a fact of things. But your initial inventory just doesn't expand. So that's why I'm always a big fan of having early backpacks available, or just even giving players a free backpack. And and I guess you can kind of remove that if it's a skyblock, right? But if you're asking a player to do some exploration, go out into the world, and they'll need to have some sort of base that they can't take with them. And I'm not saying like make it ridiculous, like give them a dank null max at the start. That's way extreme. You don't need to do that. But this thing in interactions, right? What we did was since they start off in a void world, we didn't really see the need to give them satchels early on, because it's just like, where are you going to be traveling to? Where are you going to haul your stuff to? And then when they finally get to the overworld, first of all, it's too dangerous most of the time for them to bother carrying their stuff with them. We don't advise that. And even if they do choose to go that route anyway, they can still get satchels pretty early on once they get some tin. So if they want to start moving everything all at once, it's not even that far of a movement, right? Because I guess the biggest problem for them is that they'll have to wait for the loading screen as they dart in between worlds. But really, they're not moving it like thousands of blocks. They're just moving it through a portal, and then to their new base. They even have simple teleporters to make the travel. So that's why I don't think it was absolutely mandatory for them to have a lot of early storage exploration until they started getting deeper into things and delving into dungeons. Because it's just like, because if asking a player to explore into a dungeon without extra storage in vanilla Minecraft's already bad enough, but in modern Minecraft it's just a nightmare. So to a certain point, we assume most players cannot handle a dungeon until they at least have tin. Okay, so I don't like carrot seeds. Do I care about carrot seeds? I mean, I guess I can use them for... What can I use them for? Not a lot. Oh, pizza. Yeah, just not a lot we can do here. Yeah, I don't really care about carrot seeds, even though they are kind of rare, because I'll have to go to village. Or I guess this was a carrot seed drop from... Whoops. You didn't see that. I still had cheat mode on, but obviously since you saw me recording, there was no cheats. No cheats whatsoever. I'll leave that stack there, but I still don't know what to carry in my inventory. Okay, we'll take out normal seeds because that's a low opportunity cost. Unless Inspirations lets you have carrot seeds drop everywhere, then I guess this was all for naught. Damn it. So I'm playing on a server. No one else is on right now, but I was just like, oh man, I was so ready. Like, there's torches here. What kind of new world generation is this? And then I realized this base was already taken over by Tommy. Thanks a lot, Tommy. Appreciate it, bud. All right, so now at the very minimum, I have to be at least 500 blocks away because it's my personal pet peeve when someone lives near me. And I'm pretty sure Tommy wouldn't want to live near me too because I make a really ugly base. So now I'm going to go north 500 blocks. And hopefully it'll work out better for me. Actually, here's what I'll do. I am going to set up a furnace because just to cook my food and make travel a little bit easier. This is a very vanilla feel, right? Feels like a low tier quality podcast. Sitting here, rambling, making furnaces. Oh. That's interesting. I never realized that. So if you open up a crafting inventory, the quark trash icon disappears, which makes sense in hindsight, but it's just, you think you know everything about modern Minecraft sometimes, and those little quirks, that's what throws you off. All right. And let's get some charcoal. I like how I also said that I need to move at least 500 blocks away, but I'm not even like 100 blocks away, and I'm already starting to make a small temporary base. This is temporary, Tommy. I swear to God, if you're looking at this right now, I'm not gonna invade your space. Don't chill. Let's cook the charcoal. Is there anything special here? So another thing is the cave generation is it's interesting because it's by Whirly Caves. That's one of the mods here. I think Super Fluke made it. He was also the dev of Hexlands, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I want to know how different Whirly generation is. As far as I understand, it's wider and flatter. So I guess that could be a little bit more chaotic because instead of having nice, neat tunnels most of the time in caves, these caves do appear a little bit more hazard. You'll have to, the way I see it is that, you know, the ceilings might be lower, but that might give you more room to maneuver against mobs, or you might be traveling horizontally. That's like my a super brief idea of what I think consists of. I could be completely wrong here. I feel like that's another thing about YouTube. You always have to like qualify your statements, because then you'll just have that one angry commenter. He'd be like, hey, fuck you, guy. I know what Whirly Caves is, and that's not Whirly Generation. Clearly you don't know your level of random distributions. I'm just like, all right, dude, chill. Okay, sorry, I said something wrong, so sue me. But yeah, that's my understanding and view of things. All right, so we'll take this, and man, you know what? Let's check this. Can I cheat here? Does the quest book have... Yes, it does. We will switch that to numpad 1. Perfect, and then I could throw this sucker away, right? Yeah, I don't need you. Are you used for anything? No, you're not. So yeah, we'll just toss you out. And look at that, free space. So let's go through here. The first part is you can reload the quest book. This happens every single update, so that's something that, you know, most players should actually do. And in fact, I think the admin can also do that themselves, and the players shouldn't need to. Overall, I'm just not a big fan of that with BQM's method with the manual reloading. It is pretty accurate, but I liked how in FTBQ where you can just overwrite the old, and when you update it, it'll be up to date for everyone. You know, it just removes that possible element of confusion that others could have. Okay. Oh, right on time too. We're gonna explore right as sunset sets in. I mean, this sword is practically worthless, so YOLO. Who needs a sword anyway when you got an axe? So let's keep on heading north, and let's see what else we can find. Bunny. Interesting. I didn't realize bunnies just appear in swamplands, or I think it wandered in from another, from this redwood forest. But yeah, as I was saying, oh, it's an advantageous spot. Yeah, that's right. So we have a lava pit here, so that's pretty good. And now we just need to find home. I might even just, You know what's funny? Because lava pits are normally good because if you have tinkers, you don't have to, spend like 10 minutes diving down into the darkness to get some lava to pump back. But it actually, it doesn't mean for much in this pack because there is no tinkers. So I think all you'll be using lava for is maybe lava boilers if you so choose instead of charcoal boilers. But really, you don't have much else to go off of. Okay, so we're just gonna keep on running through here. I want a nice flat area. Oh, look at this! Bravo. Are we far away enough from Tommy though? That's the real question. I honestly don't remember where he was from, but you know what? I'm gonna start setting shop on these plains because I am getting kind of sick of traveling. So this is it. We have 3 creepers over there. We have another creeper over there. I see no enderman though, which is kind of interesting. I thought they would be a bit more rare. I mean, I thought they wouldn't be this rare, but no biggie. Oh, another thing is when I first played the server, I was actually playing on an Australian server. And it was a server hosted in Australia. Wow, playing on easy is not punishing at all. I got hit by those zombies like 3 times and I just shrugged it off. I know if you got hit by a zombie in interactions, you get hunger debuffs, you just get annihilated. I guess I'm really taking the combat for granted at this point. Now, so people are like, oh, you're gonna set up base on a flat plains. Yes, you're goddamn right. It's not gonna be anything special. I might do some basic terraforming, but for now, this is what we're gonna have when we get set up. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? I just want to set up my home. I actually had a pain in the... It was actually a pain in the ass finding a white bed to sleep in. It was, I had to... Because you know how the bed recipes are now. Before, like in 1.7.10, you could find any 3 wool. Now you need to find 3 unified pieces of wool. Of the same color. You can't just mix and match. So it was like trying to find like a white sheep for the longest time in the middle of the night in this desert, in this plains, and I I had to do a fair bit of searching to find it. It was kind of annoying, but I found it. One thing I want to show you guys, and you can't, is just how Greg Tech is kind of sorted out. I was having a discussion in the Discord when I wasn't recording, and I decided it would be a good talking point was that Greg Tech materials tend to be separated into like metal, dust, and gem variants. For example, flint, right? If you look at right here, if I just the command I did was CT hand, it shows an ore dictionary of gem flint. And if you look at that, that means that when you create a flint, when you create gem tools, they have a very simple recipe, right? They don't need a file. You can make primitive tools with them pretty easily. So if you find a huge ruby vein and you can process rubies out of it, right? Like you smelt the rubies out of the ruby ore, you can make that to make a bunch of early Greg Tech tools pretty easily, right? So you can easily make a ruby hammer straight away. I guess for, once again, you'll need a file for the blades and stuff like that. But if you wanted to make a oh, I guess you do need a file for the ruby axe. That's interesting. So this whole entire... Well, actually, no. So, like, you can make the ruby axe head, right? But if I were to look at an iron axe head, it would require the plate and the hammer, right? So there are still different idiosyncrasies within the microcrafting, and it's one of these things that's just like, it's just annoying to figure out unless you've had experience with Greg Tech, or unless someone like me just tells you outright. But once again, and you can tell there's a difference in the ore dictionary just because, like, you can look at a material, like take any material after it's processed, and it'll tell you, right? You could tell it's a metal because there will be an ingot variant. Oh, let me switch my ore dictionary is enabled with prefix and resources is enabled. So if I look up ingot, right, and it'll show you all the different Greg Tech ingots that are metals because they have their ingot variants. Like you don't see ruby ingots, right? Right, it doesn't show up there. And the same thing, gem beryllium doesn't show up, but if you do gem glass, gem ruby, you can have a gem ruby. Gem diamond show up because these are within the gem variants of Greg Tech's metallurgy process. And the last one I want to talk about is dust. And these are the, you know, the catch-all. For example, bauxite doesn't have if I look up bauxite, right, it doesn't have an ingot variant or it doesn't have a gem variant. It just goes down to dust. And most dust variants, I'm just saying this out now, they tend to be processed in electrolyzer because they're usually of larger compounds and to be processed elsewhere. Same thing if I just look up with the or dictionary with redstone, right? There's no redstone ingots. And you can actually technically break this down even further if you so wish. Inside an electrolyzer, right? You can get ruby dust, pyrite dust, all other stuff out of it. So that's where it falls down to. Now you might be wondering, what about ruby? You know, it has a dust. It can be electrolyzed. Is it also a gem? I mean, once again, these things aren't really they're not really mutually exclusive to a certain degree, but for the most part, you know, once again, there's a lot of idiosyncrasies. It's not that simple, but this is a useful framework if you want to just view things. And then another simple command, if you want, is look at GTUtilHand. This will give you GregTech debug information on it. So it's just like if I take like the GregTech tool, it'll just do tool stats, class, a bunch of random stuff. In fact, whenever you get a GregTech item, you could just right click, you could type in GTUtilHand, and it'll just, you know, give you dump of information. The downside is that I think you might need ops access to do it. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure you need op access to get those benefits. But now, so catching up to where I actually was doing a little bit of building, and the nice part that I found is actually I wasn't doing any building. If you can consider this building, then you probably just have low standards of me. I was just getting set up. It's nice though to see that AA crates weren't disabled. I think they're a stupidly overpowered form of storage, and I think that if you have them early, it kind of does take away from the need to just store things. But then again, I mean, if you're just having a more casual pack, and you really want players to dive right in, and you don't want them to worry about storage, then AA crates are the perfect thing to go. They just require wood, a little bit of crafting, but other than that, you're just fine. Now, let me show you why I was so keen on getting a GregTech access, because they have a search algorithm, and it's kind of wonky. So see this spruce wood here? This isn't completely cut down. If I cut this down, it also cut down the wood here, right? You see that? Because what it does is it searches the leaves as connectors, so you can cut down a whole entire forest. So it's a bit awkward if the trees aren't by himself, because if I were to try to cut down this tree and it was connected to all the other trees, like it was an oak forest, right? Because the spruce forest isn't very well connected. But if it was an oak forest, you wouldn't even notice where the trees get cut, right? It might be all the way on the other side, and you'll have to go there to get it cut down. So it's one of those weird idiosyncrasies with the search algorithm. This wasn't a very recent update. Omnifactory is using a much later version of, well, not much later, but it's about 2 to 3 weeks down the line than what Interactions is using. Yeah, they're on 3.99. But either way, it's a nice, simple vein miner-esque for trees early on. You just have to be wary that when you cut down a tree, it doesn't like spread and cut down the other side of the forest. See? Nice and simple. Now with this recommendation, if you want to keep things clean, I would just suggest spruce trees. Spruce trees are just the easy go-to because you can plant them in 2x2 and they go really tall, and then the GregTech axe can search the algorithm to cut it all down. I actually wanted to do a little bit more organization. I usually like to have 4 crates. One crate I'll like say, oh, this is for agriculture. Another crate I'll have labeled for something like, say, wood related supplies, because I mean, let's be honest, you get a lot of wood. Another one will be for food and agriculture, and metals and ingots, and then microcrafting. I'll have like a project crate, and that's like all the stuff that I'll be cohesively microcrafting at that point. And this is my strategy for all packs. I mean, it's not even real strategy if you think about it, but that's my preferred style when it comes to crafting. All right, so perfect. So that's 2 more crates, and I should be good to go. Okay, we're back. So one thing I wanted to show is that I actually got pretty lucky. I was looking for a vein to start mining in. I just went and claimed the quest to get the hammers, and it turns out that there's actually a magnetite and gold vein underneath me. So I kind of lucked out with that. So I mined some of it out now, and I'm trying to get the hammer. And one thing I want to tell you guys is to make sure if you have the chance to use wrought iron tools, it's a very small cost. All you need to do is just resmelt iron again to get wrought iron, right? So it just costs you a little bit of fuel. And when it comes to that, these tools just have more durability than their iron counterparts. Like if I just do an iron hammer, right? If I check the uses for that, it's 5,000 versus 7,000. So it's basically free durability. Don't leave it on the table, just take it. So I'm gonna make a couple axes, right? Just so I can get more wood. And I just really like how GT axes just have that built-in. They have that built-in functionality to vein mine. And I'm not going to explain all the microcrafting tools. I have most of the patterns memorized. So you're just going to need a file, and then you're also going to need a hammer, and I'm going to need one more ingot. And people usually, this is one of the big sticking points about GregTech, is that people really don't like this part of the microcrafting. But I mean, it's daunting, right? Because it's not really the clean way. But I'm pretty sure if you just give people like a straight up text, or if they just watch me, like it's super simple, right? I think, sorry, it's not simple, but it's it follows a pattern, right? And once you know what the pattern you're looking for, you're good to go. Now here's another thing I want to point out. So people sometimes they're mining, and when I was talking about earlier, when you use a wrought iron axe with the forest, their wrought iron, their flint pickaxe could break and nothing happens. That's because, you know, the algorithm is slowly searching for trees, right? So it was basically cutting trees from far away. So, you know, it's not as fast or as quick as it seems like Tinker's lumber axes, but you know, I usually tend to trust Ark. He's fairly capable coder. If he sometimes comes off as, you know, a bit grumpy, but see how easy that was, and it just took all the durability. So if your flint pickaxe is not doing anything, it's because of that, because it doesn't have enough durability, and there's a bunch of logs at the tippity top of the trees you're cutting down that haven't fallen down yet. Alright, so I'm going to keep on processing this stuff, and we'll just head right into LV, and we're just going to check out what changes Damien had made throughout the pack. Then I'll get back to you guys. So I showed this on my interactions playthrough, but one thing I want to once again reiterate is just make use of ladders due to how the ore veins of GregTech based origin, or just any mods that use large vein style veins. It's that, oh wow, ladder speed got really increased. Interesting. But yeah, so the veins, since the veins are so horizontally dominant versus vertically, right? They could be, you know, 40 blocks wide but only seven blocks tall. You're more likely to find them if you search vertically, right? Because you're more likely to intersect with them. So that's why once you have the scanner and you go around, just dig down and just use ladders. I really don't suggest players to make, you know how they make long quarry holes, like they'll just do a straight line that way horizontally. I don't advise that at all. I think that's a waste of time. It's a really efficient way to find ores, and you'll burn yourself out, frankly, if you search like that. Also, is there hardcore dark? Oh, apparently I'm not going down that way. That was a very hostile arrow. All right, so once again, I'm gonna go back to mining this, and if I come up with any more tips in the meantime, I'll come back to you guys. Okay, so I'm actually going to check out the quest book a little bit. So here's the thing about the quest book, is that there's nice reveals, but I don't want to go through all this junk. Right? I want the rewards. That's the main reason for me to do the quest book, but it's just like, I don't want to bother making an iron furnace. I don't want to bother making a work table. I already have these starter tools, vein mining trees. That's kind of why I like FTBQ, which because it unveils all of the early quest books you got. I don't know what this exclamation point means, but anyway, I guess it's, you got a stack of iron. Ooh, 25 Omni coins. Let's hop on that, shall we? But yeah, so I mean, I don't know if I'm sounding too picky here, but that's just my style. I just prefer to see what's possible most of the time, and that's why if you played interactions and you're like, oh my god, that pack had a shitty quest book, that this is why, guys. Sorry, I want to apologize, but You know, I'm just overall not a fan of quest books, or their implementation. But once again, like I understand why people like them. I understand why it appeals to a lot of people. It's quest books are completely justified. You know, on your style, if you're okay with being told what to do because you know you don't have a solid grasp on things, or even if you do have a solid grasp on things and you don't like delving into JEI to try and find the most optimal way, because that's not for everyone. But you know, that's the reason why I don't like quest books and why I hate referring to it most of the time. And it's partially out of ego. Partially me thinks that, you know, I played so much Minecraft, modern Minecraft, I have an idea at least of what to expect. So now anyway, so we're going to the coin shop. What can we buy here? Oh, so you can buy ores and stuff. 32 gold ores. I'm too poor to buy anything. Oh no, I can buy beetroot. Saplings. So I don't really care about any of these. Ores, I mean, ores we'll find all the time. And what's actually nice about this is a good way to mitigate RNG. Like if someone just for the life of them cannot find lapis or cannot find, you know, malachite, which actually malachite should be common, but if they can't find I don't know, some very rare ore like diamond, right? They're just struggling to find a good diamond vein or a coal vein. This is a good way to mitigate that. So I approve of that. Oh, it's nice. You can also get ways to spawn sheep if they travel so long, especially because it comes in an egg, so it's portable. Okay, so it looks like this coin shop is... Oh. And I'm assuming these are renewable. Otherwise, I don't really see the point in having this. But I guess it's a nice way to mitigate just RNG early on, especially if you want to make a farm. My preference is I would prefer to have games mechanically. And once again, I'm not like criticizing the pack. I'm just saying, like, from a pack dev point of view, is that instead of having this coin shop, which is a very direct way, and that's fine. Like there was one of my favorite mod packs for 1.7 was Ferret Business, which was all based around a coin shop, and it had a great implementation, and this implementation is perfectly fine. It does what it needs. But for me, it's just, it sounds so weird, but coin shops take me out of the immersion. But I understand why it's necessary, because it's to help mitigate the RNG, because some people just, for the life of them, might not be able to find Pyrolusite, Stibnite, Gardnerite. Anyways, so, and here's another thing too, it's just that in the end game, it's just we can't I don't know where else the leads to, right? Because I haven't unlocked the certain parts yet, so I don't really know where I'm gonna be going to. But yeah, so let's go to here. Let's make ourselves forestry work table, which kind of requires leather. So I guess I could just buy some leather or cows, right? That's probably the next best thing, or probably kill some cows. All right, so I guess I was like bitching and moaning about not wanting to do the quest, and look at me just probably doing the quest. So I guess I am a hypocrite in that way. I'll begrudgingly do it just because, like, hey man, they're free rewards. Why would you pass up free rewards? You know, like, you complain all you want, but if a pack dev thinks it's okay to give me something good, then sure, I'll take it. And I guess with how cheap iron is, oh, it has 2 slots. That's actually pretty neat. Does it actually do double smelting at once? Because that would actually make it twice as good as the others. So let's actually check that out. 2 slots. Okay, so it just holds 2 slots as a buffer, but it seems that it only... Yeah, so it seems that it... What's the best way to word it? It just combines them. Right, it'll push them into the second one. Yep, so it'll push them into the second one. So it doesn't actually do twice at once. But since it does every 150 ticks, I wonder if it actually smelts it faster, because these things only last for 1,600 ticks, so it'll smelt 10 items. So that's one thing I'd probably want to look at and see. I mean, the miner efficiency is nice, and it's like, what else am I going to do with this iron early on? Although, the GUI here needs work. It doesn't darken, like when you go into your inventory. So that's a common thing I see a lot. Pam's Harvest craft machines do that a lot. I don't say like it's an amateur thing, but it's definitely an off-putting thing, right? It's definitely inconsistent with the flow of how other mods work. So I mean, it's a minor thing though, very, very minor detail. All right, so what are we looking at right now for the tech path? And here's we go. I'm going to the JEI. And I'm just going to figure out what's my storage options, right? So I have a jar controller. So I require circuits, basic circuits, frame jars, a block of diamond, or a block of emerald. Sure, fine. Interesting. So I want to know if he did a replace all. No, he probably just did the scripts manually, right? So you can see the recipe IDs by craft tweaker shaped. He didn't name the recipes. Actually, no one names the recipes anyway. It's interesting how it's also based on a frame drawer instead of a normal drawer. Did he nerf the drawer desk? Because frame drawers, actually no, you don't even need to have a custom drawer. That's so interesting. I want to know why it's a frame drawer instead of a normal drawer. That just seems like a off-putting choice. But yeah, so that's the, oh, compacting drawers require pistons. Love that recipe. So let's check out the usual stuff. Controllers aren't actually needed, right? Just because channels aren't enabled. So all you need to do is just make an energy acceptor, which requires a fluix plates. That's cool. I like the textures of these, which requires a compressor. Sure. It seems like a lot of the steam age stuff. Yeah. So if I make a macerator, yeah. So it looks like all the stuff only goes to HV. It doesn't go to EV. So it seems like the shadows of Greg additional machines aren't enabled, or maybe it's hidden. Maybe they're staging. No, there isn't. So I guess they just don't have EV plus machines. That's a unique choice. Or maybe that's due to something in the latest part of Greg Tech. So we still have plasma turbines. In fact, it looks like you'll have to make plasma turbines to do the ultimate generator. But it seems like... So I'm just going through this. It seems like the better RF generation, the better generation methodology would be just using RF and then converting to power the Greg Tech machines. So we have Enter IO. Do we have the alloy smelter? Okay, so no, we don't. Okay, so those Ender IO machines are disabled. Thermal expansion. And right now, I mean, this might be in the quest book, it might not be, but this is how I personally prefer to learn, right? The quest book tells me that's nice. If the pack description tells me that's nice, but because JEI is more intuitive and it's faster for me. So I'm going through JEI and it looks like that a lot of the thermal expansion machines are still enabled. Cool with that. But what's more important is that, because I want to know what is the best processing. Right now, I know Greg Tech, and I know that a lot of RF based mods tend to outperform Greg Tech, so I'd rather not use it if given the choice. And plus, I'm a fan. Okay, so thank TickTim for creating CEU, but at the same time, it's also like I'm not hyped to use this mod. I don't like transforming my voltages and stuff, right? I'd avoid it given the chance, but I'll do it if I'm forced to. What I do want to do is, can I make a large bronze boiler? Okay, so large bronze boiler seems good. And the main reason why I'm doing this is because maybe I just want to stick to Greg Tech power. So if you're watching this playthrough and you're just like, if you're gonna make RF power and make dynamos and then transfer that over, that works too. That's completely fine. It's just that that's not my play style. I'll probably just stick to Greg Tech machines because that's just more fun for me. So red alloy dust is just combining copper. Okay, kind of simple. I wonder if that's, Let me look at this. Did he make that himself? Yeah, it's a craft tweaker recipe. Okay, so that was his own recipe. He didn't have to use a mixer for it or use an alloy smelter, because I'm assuming, yeah, so it seems like most of the, you're skipping the steam age in Greg Tech and you're going straight in. So I guess copper is a big thing I need to go into. Let's check out the circuits. So he has these custom circuits content tweaker. I think the textures on them look great, even though they might have just been palette swapped in like paint.net. I think they thematically look good, especially this primitive processor. Like this was before, this was added into Greg Tech, and then it was taken out. And he added it back in. It's a tier 2 circuit. It just adds additional upgrades, and how the circuits work is for another episode when we get there. But this requires gallium. Okay, gallium's kind of a bitch. Gallium's usually one of the least fun things to get. It usually requires nether access as well. Purified zinc ore. So I also probably need to check all the individual ore spawns and where it spawns throughout the world. I should probably put a warning that like, hey guys, I'm gonna be in my base going through JEI and having a monologue. Well, all YouTube's is monologue, but still, it's like, if you expect me to go exploring and like find like what the fuck do you expect me to find? A vanilla stronghold? You've seen that. The only other thing I can find is these veins, and that's just rocks in the ground. You know, nothing exciting is happening on this end. So that's basically the long and short of it. But I will explore while monologuing, because I do realize I need copper. So let's see. Need copper. We already have wrought iron, and I want to limit. Ooh, I want to know if this is just coal. Oh my god! So this world tooltip it's driving me bonkers. I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get rid of this mod eventually in my next startup. Okay, so this is just normal iron ore, which is whatever. Free, nice iron, I guess. But if I see that color, I probably know to ignore it. And in fact, you know, to a certain degree, I might even wonder if it's just better for me to put in my own custom colors in my own pack file, because there's a lot of overlap with all the ore colors, and that's one of the downsides of just having so many ores, right? Just so many ores is because the scanner efficiency isn't that good. Well, not efficiency, sorry, that's the wrong word for it, but the scanner detection, like, it'll show you where it is, but you'll still have to go down and identify it. Like, once again, I can already tell this is probably just copper. I mean, this is probably just gold and magnetite. Yep, magnetite ore. So I'll just make a magnetite vein here. I mean, ores are plentiful, but you still have to explore to find them, which is, I'm okay with that. I think that's a fine trade-off. It sure beats the hell out of making 3x3 tunnels and strip mining, in my opinion. I prefer this variation much more. Interesting. So this is gold and blue. So I wonder if there's gonna be some lapis or something underneath. Let's check it out. I should probably get a shovel on my way back. Oh, what a surprise! It's more iron and magnetite. Yep. So before I said I was worried about energy usage. I think at this rate, I don't care about energy usage. If this is a full energy scanner, that's fine. Fine by me. I'm okay keeping it this way. Yeah, so I'm gonna find like a dozen magnetite veins before I find my first copper. And I don't think there's any biome differences. And that's one thing we did in interactions. We just know that some people just might get unlucky searching for one vein forever. So we decided that, hey, look, if you can go to a jungle vein, you might find richer sources of lead or richer sources of copper. If you go to the snowy vein biome, you'll find other types of veins. And it wasn't always like exclusive, but they gave bigger bonuses, which I liked because that helped reduce the RNG nature of it. Or even if it didn't reduce the time, I don't think it actually reduced the time players would spend finding ores, but it gave them something to look forward to. It gave them that idea of, all right, if I go here, this is the optimal path, and that feels good. It feels like you're making progression, versus if you don't do that, they'll just be like, I guess I'm just gonna wander aimlessly until I hit a gold mine, literally. So that's one thing I would prefer to see more packs tend to implement. All right, you know what? So magnetite. It's just like you go here and there's just 3 magnetite. It's just so annoying. Let's just not do a cave layer, right? Ugh, journey map. How do I work you? All right, so that was a magnetite over there. Let's just try west. And another thing is having ore indicators above ground it's just nice because, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm spoiled. This is also like completely reasonable to find all the specific ores, you know, like I'm not bitching. I'm just saying that this could be preferences. Ooh, tin ore. In fact, let me satchel. Ooh, satchel. So that requires tin. Perfect. This requires Invar, which is just nickel. So if I can find nickel, I can probably get myself a better satchel as well. In fact, you know what? I should probably just bring a bunch of ladders with me. Got my ladders ready to keep on exploring. And people are like, oh, you can just check every 3x3 chunks. It's not that simple anymore. Just scan whenever, because yes, you are right that you'll have veins appearing once every 3 chunks, but there's also bonus veins. So you technically, like I said before, have 3 veins every 3x3 chunk area. This is magnetite again. Amazing. Probably need to check up on the magnetite ore generation configs, because whoo lad, this is getting quite popular. Oh, come on. I just need to put a goddamn ladder there. Oh, that's why it wouldn't work. Why? I wonder what's making the faster ladder. I'm assuming quark, but don't quote me on that. Alright, so I'm going to go around and just find... I have nothing interesting to talk about, so I'll probably just cut back to you guys. Or we might even just go to episode 2. Yeah, you know what? I'll just cut it off here, and we'll continue in the next episode. And after I label some more ores.